Okay, we are live. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Frank Cefalu. We get to see what's coming out on Avalon Lords. And today we do have a new guest along with Diego Roldan, who's normally on our broadcast. We have Dan Long. You might know him as Indy. Dan, you want to say hi?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited. Thanks for the intro.
Oh, no worries. We're glad to have you here. And, I think Dan is going to be taking over these broadcasts for us soon enough. And you could.
I have to stop killing all my peasants first.
No, you yeah, you need to stop that.
I'm a peasant murderer. I just send them to the slaughter.
No, 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 no. Don't send him into the slaughter, Dan.
I was laughing the whole time doing it too yesterday. It's funny. Anyways, yeah.
So how about we get started and let's talk about um, what's coming out in the new build, and we'll take it from there, and let's see how this thing goes. How's that?
Yeah.
Do it.
All right.
Are you in the bathroom, Diego?
I'm getting my headphones. I just want to make sure the audio is crystal clear this week.
He is in the bathroom. That's you guys. Best place to stream from and to watch. Really.
Bathroom break will be announced later.
All right. I told you, Diego, you need new headphones. All right.
How is this? Sounds good, no?
Yeah.
Sweet. You see, Frank?
No, it's still shit. Okay. Okay. We've been talking about this new build that's coming out for Avalon Lords, and it's the point 2 build. And it's probably the most significant build that we're going to be coming out with, just because it totally transforms the current scenery that we have in the game, as well as the GUI and amongst other things like the tech tree. So we're trying to get a version of it out probably this weekend. It's going to be incomplete. The full release of the tech tree is probably going to be expected around November 2nd. But I know there's a lot of players in the game that are eager to see what we have in store, to start getting their hands on it, start testing it. So let me just get this up. I'm just showing you guys what's going on. Okay. Okay. Let's get this on. And okay. Let's just get this out of the way. Okay, so Avalon Lords is going to be getting a brand new multiple things. um, as you can see, it's a step away from the old GUI, and I think Dan, even you saw the old GUI that we had in game. It's sort of 1995-ish, I dare say. And on top of that, we're implementing a new terrain, and what this terrain is going to allow players to do is to um, experience a lot of different strategies and methods of play that they could do, implementing a lot of new sort of attacks, and we're going to have choke points on the map that will allow you to fight for, resources. As you can see, we have this sort of bird's eye view of the clouds here. Um, and, I think it's coming along beautifully. It's definitely an upgrade, I think, from what we currently have in-game.
It's a major change.
Yeah.
It's almost like a brand new game. It's gonna be so sweet to play on that terrain. I can't wait.
That GUI just looks brutal too. It just looks like a gnarly weapon. Yeah. The way the clouds are moving across the terrain, it looks amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an improvement, and I think everyone that's going to be playing this thing is going to feel the difference, the improvements, the upgrades to the terrain. They're going to feel how much more improved the technology tree is before we started you off in level 3 everything. So now you do have to work your way up. Some of the things that are not ready in this build that I have is the fact that, well, the color and lighting still off a lot. You're gonna see that improve over the weekend. So like structures like this are insanely dark right now. But this is actually the level 1 town hall, and you can upgrade it. We have 4 levels of upgrades, and each one has its requirements. Not only do you have resource-based requirements, like here, which if you hover over now, you can see what the requirements are for this: 1,000 food, 1,000 gold, 1,000 of everything. But you also have to build certain structures to unlock the next level. So in this case, we need to build a mine, a farm, and a sawmill in order to unlock level 2. So it's just a small hint of what you could expect to see. This also has a 24-hour clock. So what does that mean? It means that you're going to be able to have night fights, have battles through various times of the day. And we're still trying to figure out if we want to play along with that sort of technology and maybe influence it into the gameplay itself. Like at night, the fog of war becomes severely reduced and all that jazz.
And have people running around with torches and setting campfires and stuff like that?
Exactly.
Ooh. Imagine that way back on the map, and you've got your camps all over the place, and there's fires, and you can see it kind of like a fire through the fog of war. That's awesome.
Does that make
That would be nice to see.
Does that make your Viking blood boil over there, Dan?
It does. It makes my beard. It makes my beard just go. It wants to be tied into a braid.
I'm just gonna show here the 24-hour clock because I think it's pretty cool. As you see here, I'm just gonna show this here. We do have the globe turning around you. There are constellations. Let me just get rid of this contrast stretch because it is just killing me right now. Okay, it's not gonna look as good right now, but okay, there we go. So, like I said, it's 24-hour clock. I sped this up to run within the span of 2 minutes, but you can get the idea of what happens here. It slowly becomes more light out, and like I said, we're trying to figure out how to influence gameplay through time of day. And actually, these trees that you're looking at right now are tree resources in the game, so that's gonna be pretty cool. So yeah.
What does that mean? You can cut them down?
Yeah, you cut them down, you collect them. There will be resources for your construction on your city and civilization. So yeah, these are resources that you will be collecting. In fact, this stone over here is a stone resource in game as well. So you're going to be able to collect this resource. So everything you're looking at right now is collectible. We don't have anything that's just sort of decorative yet. Just because that would be a waste of our time. So it looks good and it's all functional, so that's the important thing here.
I also want to comment, if you guys want, if you're not logged in or whatever, if you guys want to comment or if you have a question, just go ahead and tweet at Avalon Lords It's AVALONLORDS. Send a tweet, and then I will relay that to them, and then they can answer questions.
Yeah, actually, we already have one question on the forums, but we can get to it later, or we can do it now. Should we do it now?
I don't see why not.
All right. So we have the Saujin, the user, ask, "Do you have a rough idea of about how many buildings there will be?" So I guess he's asking about the different types of buildings, I guess.
Yeah, so how many structures will we be having in the game? And I guess it's really hard for me to answer that easily because the tech tree is we have 4 levels of town hall, various structures. We're also gonna have different variants of each structure. So a house will have 2 to 3 variants, even at level 3. And each level of a building is correlated to the town hall. So I would say probably off the top of my head, 20 structures minimum. In this build, coming out for alpha, and then for beta, it's probably gonna be more variety.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna keep on expanding. There will be some buildings that won't make it to the alpha, but the list will be getting longer as we progress on this.
Right.
What about destruction? What about like buildings getting destroyed? How do you guys have that worked out? Is it going to be fire?
Yeah, right now, buildings do get destroyed, and unfortunately, they sort of explode into fire and burn
And
down.
stay lit up for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But in the future there'll be some kind of destruction.
Yeah, we're planning on having rubble, and smoldering ash, and let's just show a real representative burnt down building. So I think as we go through this, we're gonna make things more complex. I think the biggest thing for us right now in this alpha period is getting all the core stuff in place, and then reiterating over it with the community, and making sure we get all the small pieces in place and correctly done, and making sure that we make a game not in a silo, but with those community members to make sure we're delivering something that everyone wants to play, and get some enjoyment out of it. And a lot of the feedback we've received already has been implemented as we've been developing this alpha. So it's been really helpful so far.
That's awesome to get the community involved too. Another game that I know has done that is called 7 Days to Die, and they will just totally design something and then then send it out to the closed alpha people. And there's been times where people have just like, I do not like this mechanic, and the mechanic is gone out of the game. And I think it has really helped them make their game amazing because of all of the feedback they've been getting. And that's awesome. Instead of, like you said, working in a silo, working in a room all by yourself with no feedback.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we have them. Yeah, we have definitely have a good amount of feedback from the community already, and we're definitely already, listening to them on the forums, and we bring it up to the devs. We talk about it. We sometimes go back and sort of try to find balance between certain features that are definitely needed, but the communication back and forth definitely makes it a lot easier to really sort these things out.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing we're trying to do also is bring more people into the game. I think we're prepared to hand out up to 500 keys right now. So definitely, if you're interested and wanting to play, try the game out. Shoot us a tweet, post in the forum, send us an email, and just get in there, and we'll add you to the list, send you a beta key, alpha key rather, and that way you can start trying out the game. Give us feedback.
Right, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you guys hear that? You can even tweet. And there's a couple places to tweet at Avalon Lords and at Animus Int, which is short for interactive. Animus, ANIMUSINT. Why are
Yeah.
you laughing at me?
No,
Because
no.
I'm spelling stuff? Or you're either laughing at me or coughing.
I was coughing.
Okay.
Okay, so I think there's more we got obviously show in this new build, but it won't be without bugs. So I'd rather wait till this build is a little further along till we actually show that. But one thing I can say is a lot of the bugs that people have been having with laggy mouses is gone with this build, and it was due solely to the fact that our engine had problem with hardware mouses on 64-bit machines. So we got rid of the software mouse, and we're switching straight to hardware, and we're going to be releasing only a 32-bit version for now for all platforms, and that will remove that problem. And we're not really utilizing multi-core yet anyways in the game, so it'll just reduce the amount of problems so we have with this. What else?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of bugs that we sort of been working on. Formations. There's a specific bug with soldiers going in a spinning formation, and we have addressed that issue as well. Also, some automated tasks like placements sort of doing their own thing. So if you have them working on a mine, sometimes they will go wandering around, try to do something that you haven't actually asked them to do. So we still have to work more on the balance of what things should be automated, but we have already made some improvements, and just from the feedback that we've been getting on the forums. But there are several big issues that we definitely cover. And I think those two are the most important: the lagging and the formations, and the some of these automated tasks.
I'm just gonna see if that works here.
You just love to fly around that map, huh?
I'm trying to see if I can actually place.
Need some extra help?
Luke Larson asks, is Avalon Lords
Need
going to
some
be
extra help?
subscription-based or a free-to-play?
Why aren't we going anywhere? Need some extra help?
Oh, nice. Also on Twitter, we got something. Did I hear something about Alpha Key? Because if so, share the love, he says. So the love with a bunch of O's. So make sure and check that out after the stream. The love. There's a whole bunch of O's. There's lots of love. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so for November, and correct me, Frank, if I'm wrong, but what we discussed is on the on this next release, we will be giving out more keys, so we'll have more alpha players to keep on helping us find bugs and
Need
improve
some
the
extra
game. That's
help?
pretty much basically like the bottom line of all this alpha. And what it really means to us, the alpha is to improve the game and to have the community help us improve it, find bugs, discuss features, just get into it and talk to us about it.
And you can do that by on the forums or on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, right? What's the best way to
So
give feedback? Is it forums?
Right now, the forums are very active.
That's good. So where would you show me the tutorial? Would that be like the best place for people that have not played at all to check out, what the game's about? Where you show me the instructions or the tutorials, I mean?
Yeah. Once you want to get into the advanced mode, then you have to go into the sort of the wiki that we have going, so you can learn all the cheats and how to do shortcuts and all the good stuff. But yeah, just to get onto the idea of the game, the video is the best place.
Right. Thracis, he said that there's a this chat group on Skype for Avalon Lords also. Pretty awesome. I am now part of the club. Oh, then we got people on Skype watching too. Awesome.
That Skype thread is very active.
I like Skype groups. Oh, I don't think you ever modded me in the YouTube channel because I can't put a link in there. I was going to put the IGN, the wiki, Avalon Lords wiki. The YouTube? Did you type in Indie Animus Studio or just Indie? Because my channel name is here, Indie Animus Studio. That's what it is. I wish I had youtube.com/indie. That would be awesome. Yeah. All right. We'll figure it out. Can you talk about other weapons? Because I'm curious. What other kind of weapons? Are there going to be like catapults and all that kind of stuff too? Ooh. As long as there's fire, things can burn. Just everything will be fire. Right. We don't need no trees. We just burn them down. As long as there's fire and beards, I'm fine.
Definitely one thing that definitely will. I'm not really sure if we discussed the upgradable weapons, but it's definitely in the plans. So that with the catapults and all the stuff, we'll be able to. We'll probably start without the fire then, but it will, like, we'll probably be able to upgrade to get some fire in there.
So you're gonna be able to research farms in level 2, which is gonna be cool. And you're gonna be able to, let's see, level 3 we have you being able to research steel weapons. You're gonna be able to get your pikemen, do pikeman training. We have some cavalry in level 2 barracks. So it's a lot of stuff going on for this.
Thraces says, will there be XP to make units stronger or heroes?
Okay. So I'm assuming you mean experience over time. As they play, they get stronger. Right now, we don't have that in there. I'm sure later on in the beta version of this, we're going to want to introduce the ability for units to learn, gain more of a veteran status. Heroes, yeah, we have heroes. um, I don't know when we're going to be able to get the paladin into the game, but he is already modeled. He's ready to go. He has his animations. We're just trying to figure out the best way to insert him into this, because I don't think it will be fair for you to suddenly spawn a squad of paladins, which are these. If you don't know what the paladin is, it's right on our Avalon Lords homepage. He's the big guy in the background. He's sort of like the super knight of the Order of Dawn, which is the order that we're currently playing, and that's being released in alpha. So,
did you want me to, what you just said in Skype, you want me to do that?
if we want to do that for the remainder, I'm not sure what else there is.
Okay, well, I'll do Q&A stuff. Is there going to be like king and queen? Or Jarl, whatever, do you have to defeat?
Oh, you mean inside the MMO part or the single player, or like
It's the MMO part.
In the MMO part, we're trying to figure out if we want to do a persistent server still or rotational. Meaning like the persistent server means the world never changes. It's persistent. And there's always a political battle going on between kingdoms. And when I say kingdoms, then if you were to start the game tomorrow and start building cities, you have your own kingdom. So, and if you group with other players into what other games call guilds, we call that empires in our game. So you would have an empire. So in a persistent server, you may have your guild leaders will pretty much be your king and queen in your empire. So if you have 50 players grouped together building cities next to one another, you're going to have your capital cities you start to develop for yourselves, where you and other guild members protect it and build certain things in it, like walls and soldiers and footmen. Um, very well you're going to have a small little hierarchy and system of loyalty and
Right.
fealty. And what we're imagining in the large persistent servers is that the fights are going to be few in between at the end because you're going to have these large empires that are going to be too afraid to lose their power, to be quite frank. Um, so, that's where assassinations could come to place. So you could
Right, because it could get after a while, someone could just take over the whole server, and then new people coming in trying to start new cities, they could just wipe them out.
pretty much, yeah.
So I'd imagine there'd have to be some kind of balance of powers somehow.
Yeah, it's always a funny conversation because when you talk to players, the only other game really that does this right now is Eve, where it's completely persistent. And you would say the same thing, right? There would be one group that just dominates everything, but in there they have their own struggles. Not to say though, small groups will have very difficult time growing. um, but we do have inside our system, uh, we have plans to integrate a way for you to overthrow your leaders. So if you're in a guild or an empire, you could overthrow the leadership and throw them out of the guild. So you could have a revolt from inside. So yeah, I think stuff like that will offer interesting gameplay on a persistent server because
Especially if there's some kind of incentive to do so, extra incentive for overthrowing your guild leader.
yeah, I mean, it could be anything, right? It could even mean that you're guilty because you want more money for yourself, and maybe there's some sort of fealty tax system inside the guild that makes it incentive. It makes you want to overthrow your guild leader because you're just a greedy little bastard.
Right. Greedy. No guts, no glory, Thrasis says with a wahaha at the end.
we
That's
have
awesome.
we have another question on the site itself. Will there be multiple zones and biomes? I can't pronounce his name. Saljin, I guess. Um, so biomes mean different, temperament, climates, and time zones. So absolutely. I mean, later on we're definitely going to have that. It's going to be. So right now we're working at Orda Dawn, and Orda Dawn is sort of like in the middle plains. So they have a mild climate, as you see here. But we have two other orders that are in the works later on, which are the Order of Darkness, who are your sort of big stompy guys. They come from the mountains. They sort of look like you, Dan. And
But not as handsome. And a little bit more dirty.
and then we have our the Order Divine, which are sort of our elvish race, magical. So there will be different biomes, and what we're planning on doing is when we release a new order, um, it's going to be introducing new mechanics to the game. So probably the biggest mechanic I'm looking forward to trying to introduce into the game is the ability to travel by water or air, because we do have water units and air units planned. So it's a way for you to be able to get to the new terrain or territory. So,
All right. So this, like someone said, Avalon means Britain, or it's an old word for the word Britain. This is not in Britain, right? This is, like you just said, there's going to be magical creatures or magical characters. So this it's fantasy land, right? It's not just humans going to battle in medieval stuff. There's, like you said, elf-like characters.
yeah, yeah.
Are there going to maybe have different units? Like I don't know if you're going to have dragons or mythical creatures or whatever. Also,
Yeah, we have griffins, which will belong to the Order of Dawn. We have dragons that will belong to the Order of Darkness, and I believe, if my memory serves me right, for the Order Divine, I need to actually check on that. But the idea is this isn't based on any English lore. It's its own history. It's our own story. We have very in-depth game design as well as backstory. And when I say in-depth, we probably have around 120 pages of lore written for the game. So it's anything but.
Oh my god, I can't wait for that stuff. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. So it's its own storyline. I think what people are mistaking for is that the fact that they're taking the word Avalon and they're looking at Arthurian lore, which there is an
Mhm.
Avalon in it. Um, and we're not using that. The idea of Avalon, the word Avalon itself, is just a mythical place. So, in the
Right.
same way Arthurian lore is using it. So, it's a mythical place that we're articulating our own lore around.
So will the GUI change like depending on what race you are? Or?
Right now, no. People have asked me that if we're going to change this GUI based on which order. May make it look more rugged for the north and more elegant for the divine. We have no plans for that yet. It's more of an aesthetic choice, I think. And I think right now we don't have plans for that. Um, I think
Right now, you're just working on like the vertical slice using humans, right? Basically, just
exactly.
to get gameplay and everything down. That's awesome.
Yep. Yep. And each order has its strengths. I think in Order of Dawn, the strengths are the archers for sure, versus some of the other races that have different strengths. Like Darkness, they're stronger guys because they're big and bulky, and Divine, they're more intelligent, so they're more inept. They have a bigger aptitude towards magic.
Magic or engineering or whatever.
Yes, exactly,
Awesome.
exactly.
Awesome. I can just see that now with so many on a server and everyone's. Oh man, that's gonna be so epic. It's gonna be epic. It would be epic to just watch that. Are you gonna have a way to, or have you thought about having a way where people can just view what's going on? They don't have to be in the game.
Um, we're thinking about introducing a way to be able to broadcast the game from inside.
Uh-huh.
But we're on the fence because streamers these days are so creative with their ability to figure out ways to do it themselves, and there's software in place already. So I just feel if we do try to introduce something, it'll just be subpar to those softwares that already exist.
Right.
So
That'll be awesome.
right now we find that it works great with Gamecaster natively. So and some other streaming software. So. But since it's on Steam, you could broadcast it from Steam too, natively.
You're right. I don't even know anyone that uses Steam broadcasting.
Neither do I.
That's awesome. So November is going to be so not November, but is that what it says? November, right? That will be and then February is what?
So November 2nd is when we're going to start letting a lot more people into the alpha to start testing. February will be our official release of alpha.
So November will still just be one race, right?
Yeah, and so will be February.
Okay. Do you have a gold release? Oh, what random events? Plague, NPC orc hordes, etc. Thrasis says.
What random events?
Tornado whipping everything up.
Yeah. Well, I think we had things planned as like random NPCs. We will have NPC-owned cities, so there may be events where X city that's owned by a old nation that's slowly dying out is trying to take over the countryside, and you have to stop them. With the obviously the real danger is that the NPC might win. So we're trying to figure out random events where we don't wipe out the player population on the whole server.
Well, I mean, there's mountains and stuff. You never know what could be in the mountains, in the caves. There could be stuff hidden in the mountains and the caves that come out and attack or something. It really could be. It could. It's wide open. I'm sure for whatever it could do. But I'm sure you have specific plans. But honestly, the way that you're setting it up, it's wide open.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wide open. So the answer is, you guys are just gonna have to wait.
Exactly. Exactly.
They might get the Cefalu plague or something.
No, they won't.
No Cefalu plague. Oh.
No. Right, you should call it cephalitis, right? Or something like that.
Cephalitis. Oh god.
Cephalitis has attacked your village. Go outside and pray and send Steam dollars our way. Anything else, Dan, that you have to ask us?
Did I want to ask? I think we are good. We can talk more next week about stuff.
Yeah, I agree. So
I don't want to expose to. I mean, you've already exposed a whole bunch to me that I didn't know, so I don't want to expose to everybody else a whole bunch of other stuff. Even though now I've got a million more questions, but we can just reveal that stuff over time.
Yeah, and I feel dirty for revealing what I did already, so I think it's a good point to stop.
Yeah, you feel dirty. Oh, I guess I tend to make people feel dirty sometimes. I don't know. I'm not sure. How many racial options is another question from Twitter from Daniel Silvis on Twitch.
How many racial options?
Yeah, you what did you say? You said 4, I think. Or are you going to answer?
We have three orders. If that's what he's asking, what races? We have 3 races: Order, Dawn, Divine, and Darkness.
There you go, Daniel. 3 tri-racial.
Tri-racial. Yeah, that's correct.
Right. Or tricultural, really.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. 3 different cultures, even though they look vastly different. So they are sort of like a race in themselves.
Right. And everyone will have different kinds of structures and everything, huh? Oh man, that's gonna be so cool.
Yep, it's gonna be exciting.
Is there gonna be big bodies of water?
Yes, there are. We do have a map
Not in the 1v1 or the matches, but in the world, huh?
in the MMO version, yeah, and you're gonna be able to traverse to different, continents later on to explore, and different parts of the world will open up with each new iteration of the game. So, we have the whole world map. I forget what it is. I should probably link it on our chat so people can check this out later. But basically, we're gonna release different parts of the map as we progress through the game with their various biomes. And probably the biggest thing is understanding how large the map is. It's basically you're playing on a map that is pretty similar in size to ESO or World of Warcraft, and you marching your soldiers. I mean, people playing right now in Alpha, probably the biggest thing they realize is how big that map is, and you marching your troops from one side of the map to the other takes time. So, and we did that on purpose because we want you to start feeling now what the goal is of the game, which is the depth and how extensive the landscape is going to become. And the fact that you physically have to explore this space, and that it takes physical time. We didn't want this game to feel like a speed game where whoever builds the most troops first wins, but more of how tactical reasoning and using that environment. So.
Oh, nice. Very nice. That's awesome. I'm excited. I just want to go play now. And learn how to not just kill my peasants. Peasants, don't die.
Well, I think the first part there for you to be able to do that is not send them off into your enemy's base on purpose.
Is what?
It's not send them into your enemy's base on purpose.
Yeah, don't do that. Even it took forever. Man, those guys are slow.
Oh, they're peasants.
Yeah.
They're not exactly
They don't have
running
roller
a
skates.
marathon. Yeah, and
No.
right, roller skates aren't invented yet.
Like, how
Unfortunately.
can you build a building so freaking fast, but it takes you so long to walk?
Easy.
And those guys, they work their butts off. They're just up. I had another question, and I'm guessing that it's water, the water that spurts up, because they'll be working, and then the water will spurt up, and then they'll go back to it, and then they'll go back and work.
Okay, so I need to explain this because our lead developer, our CTO rather, David Wu, he's a jokester, and he thinks it's funny to randomly add stuff to the game that shouldn't be there. One time it was a robot that looked like Bender, and now this time, for whatever reason, you start building a structure, and what looks like is a fountain of water appears. I have no idea why he did that. It should not be there. There's no reason for it. And there's no
He just did
explanation
it
for it.
just funny. That's funny.
Yeah, and it's always before a live stream that we used to do. Every time we used to do a live stream, I would get the latest build, and he's like, "Yep, it's ready to go," and it's something new in it. So, you know, it's not always fun to discover, but it is for everyone
Everybody
else.
cramming to a little Volkswagen Bug and driving around in a circle or something silly. That's funny.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
All right. Is that everything at this point? Any more
That's
questions?
enough for you. That's enough. Don't anymore.
All right. So, to everybody on the stream, thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week on Thursday, again with Dan and Diego.